Jump scare! Oh, I have the wrong thing on screen. Oops. Uh-oh. Oh no, what's that? A preview of something I'm gonna be working on a future stream. What? That's crazy. Who left that up there? I legitimately did just forget to change. This is not me being coy. I was working on this right before stream and I forgot. This is not what we're drawing today. Yeah, spoilers for my next video. Oopsie doodles. Where the fuck is my folder? Here it is. Mail Club stickers. Boop. Okay, we can close that. Quick, pretend you meant it. Oh, I did that on purpose. It was my evil plan to get you all to watch my to watch my September video. Ooh. Gosh. But yes, everyone, hello! Welcome to Art Strim. I forgot to post on Blue Sky that I'm live. One moment, let me do that real quick. Let me do that. Okay. And now I can close out of that, and I can close my email, and now I can give stream my full attention. Hello. Hello, gamers. Welcome to Drawing Things Day. Welcome to Drawing Things Day, the day where I draw things. So today we are going to be working on Mail Club stickers for next month, and the theme that my patrons voted on is a Cast-Off and Azure Mirage crossover. Let's go! So I drew, I like to call this one is Grumpy Beans Anonymous, and this one is if I had a nickel for every time I had a protagonist of a story who was kind of anxious, had pointy ears, was shy but very quick-witted, and was just generally very cute, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. So we're gonna work on this one first, I think. And I ideally should be able to get both of these inked and colored today, but as we proved in my last art stream, which is already a couple weeks ago, oh boy, I've kind of lost my ability to draw and talk at the same time. So we will see if I regain that ability, magically, somehow. Is Lapis teaching Vector how to play the lyre? I don't know if she's teaching him, but she's trying to show him at the very least. Y'all can come up with whatever headcanons you want about this interaction. You have a blorbo on your shoulder? I do! That's another thing that I should promote right at the start here is that, hi, if you guys like Ariana from my webcomic Cast-Off, this little grumpy shoulder girly right here, you can get your very own Ariana plushie in the link in the pinned comment that's also in the description. This stream is sponsored by, this stream is sponsored by Makeshift, making plushies of Ariana. We just hit fully funded this morning, which I'm psyched out of my mind about, and I'm going to continue screaming until the campaign is over, because just like, full disclosure gamers, I do get a pretty significant pay bump in the percentage that Makeshift pays me if we get all the way to 400 plushies. And we're at 200 right now. We're a little over 200. And we've got 2 weeks left. So I'm going to continue screaming. And I'm not sorry for it, because my need to advertise this plushie is why you guys are getting an art stream today and potentially another one later this week. So, you're welcome. Everyone say thank you to Ariana plushie. She's the reason I'm streaming today. I really want to get a plush. There is a link in the pinned comment and also in the description, my friend. You got 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks to get her before she disappears forever, unless there is significant enough demand that Makeshift wants to do a rerun. Which, if that occurs, will not be happening anytime soon. So if you really, really, really want an Ariana, you're gonna want to get one now, because no guarantees for future reruns. Good to know I'll have to save up to single-handedly pay for Zara to get funded, not to 200 but 400. Holly? Holly, you're scaring me. But yeah, I will go ahead and say this because I've been getting a lot of comments about this, which is that Frankie plushies are a potentiality. So if people want Frankie plushies, like that, he would be next on the list. But Frankie getting a plushie is entirely dependent on how well Ariana does. And I don't say that to guilt you guys into getting the Ariana plushie if you don't want one. I'm just stating the fact that if the Ariana plushie does not sell well, Frankie plushies are less likely. So, it's just the reality of business. I do not control the whims, unfortunately. So, you know, if you want to help out, you can help me scream about the Ariana plushies. I've been posted on Blue Sky and YouTube and stuff. You can tell your friends. You can tell your mom. All that cool stuff. Imagine Sage plushie. I can't make a Sage plushie. Everyone would be so mean to him. Everyone would be so mean to him. They'd throw him against a wall and he would deserve it. They would throw him. They would be so mean. I would kill for a Zara plushie. Well, you can join Holly in that. Please do not commit murder for a plush. I think it's much cheaper to just maybe commission one, because if he gets a makeshift plush, it's not going to be for a while. We'll see what happens, gang. Again, getting subsequent plushies is entirely dependent on how well the previous one sells, so. That's all I have to say. Kick the Sage plush down the highest hills. Oh no. Listen, I tried to take some B-roll footage for my video that went up on Friday of me just like a slow-mo shot of me throwing plush Ariana into the sky and just having her ascended. And I failed to catch her literally every time. And then she would just like fall in the gravel and roll away. And I was like, no, Ari plush, you're gonna get dirty. So I had to stop doing that. I did put her on a swing set though. I went to be a menace at my local park that has a little play set. And I'm very grateful that unlike when I took Vector to Barnes & Noble, there was nobody else at the local park. There was no one else at the local park to see me. There were maybe some people in the houses nearby who saw me, but they didn't come out and say anything to me. So for as far as I know, I'm safe and no one witnessed my shenaniganery, including the, we're gonna call it analog horror-esque bit that I filmed that I don't know is ever gonna see the light of day. I think I might just because it's fucking funny. I did film a video of myself running through the woods and then seeing Ariana plushie in a tree and then changing directions and running scared. I might add some stupid filters to that and post it. I don't know. It's very dumb. It's very stupid. It's a very stupid thing that I filmed. We need that now. Okay, hey, you know what? Here, I've been thinking about like fun milestones we could do. If we get to 300 Ariana plushies sold, I'll post the footage. I will post the found footage horror Ariana short when we get to 300 plushies sold. If we get to 300 plushies, I will post the found footage horror movie. Yippee. The what? Don't worry about it. You know what? Okay. How do I want to make this work? Because, you know, I could. What if I, like, set another milestone and I film a better one? Face reveal and everything. What if I did that? We hit 400, maybe I film an even stupider video. Every milestone we hit, every 100 plushies sold, I post a stupider video. Get ready to post the footage by the end of the week because we probably won't slow down. I mean, I don't know if I think you guys can do it, actually. This is me using reverse psychology on you. Do you have a 360 spin thingy of Ariana too? Yes, Makeshift did give me a 360 degree spin of Ariana. I posted it on socials already. About to go buy 100 Ariana plushies for the found footage. I mean... So I'm actually planning on buying a couple myself. I get a discount as the creator of the plush. And I have 10 unclaimed Vector plushies that have just been sitting in a box in my office since the Makeshift campaign funded. And I bought them with the intent of doing something with them. And I am, at this stage, unsure what to do with them. I was thinking maybe, like a charity raffle or something, but I need to be careful about how raffles work. That's a thing. I was thinking maybe making it an auction or something. I don't know. Maybe I could do some kind of raffle. You know what I could do is I could wait until the Ariana plushies come out and then I do a duo giveaway where it's like I buy 10 Ariana plushies as well, and then I auction them off for charity or something. Maybe not charity, maybe I'll do a raffle just because I would feel bad. Because I've been getting emails from people who are like, I really want the Vector plushie, but I missed the Makeshift campaign. Are you planning on ever redoing that? And that specifically, like a rerun of the plush is entirely up to Makeshift. I have no control over that really, and that's dependent on demand being sufficient. But I could do like a raffle or something, maybe. Maybe. Again, it's just complicated because there's like laws around raffles because it's like gambling technically and they get real persnickety about it. So I gotta be careful with how I do it. But I could do like some kind of charity thing, maybe. I just need to look into how to do that legally. How do you like Makeshift as people to work with? I enjoy them. They do all the hard shit. They do all the hard shit and then send me a check at the end, which makes my life so much easier. It's making me really want to find a fulfillment service to work with for the rest of my store stuff because it just makes my life so much easier that I don't have to worry about shipping hundreds and hundreds of plushies all by myself. I feel like I'm never gonna fulfill one of my own Kickstarters ever again. I can't. I can't do that to myself because that's so much work and so much stress. And shipping is a nightmare, and customer service is a nightmare, and I'm just like, oh god, I can't do this shit again. So, if/when I do a Kickstarter for Volume 2 of Cast Off, I'm probably gonna pay a service to do it for me, especially because the comic just like keeps getting bigger. I can't do that shit again. Every time I fulfill a Kickstarter by myself, it drains me so fucking bad. And then I'm burnt out for like 3 weeks. It didn't fully ruin my Christmas. I was already tired, but like, man, I slept through most of Christmas this year and then had to go back home and keep packing Kickstarter orders. That shit took like a month. Oh my god. This year? No, next year at the earliest for Volume 2. I'm taking a year off Kickstarters because I'm tired. I'm tired and I don't want to deal with it right now. I don't want to have to deal with print revisions. I don't even want to look at InDesign for another 6 months. Is there a discount code for Makeshift because I can't cover shipping? Unfortunately, there is not. I do not control the price of shipping, and ultimately Makeshift also does not control the price of shipping. That is entirely something that you should yell at the government for, unfortunately. You're also cursed to get shipping delivery orders in the rain. Like, dude, fuck, every time. Every fucking time it keeps happening! Thankfully, my most recent stuff has not been delivered in the rain because it's getting delivered in Texas in the summer. But, like, my god, that one time was like, I yelled about that story in a previous video. I don't feel the need to fully go into it again, but the TLDR, if you did not watch my, my How I Became an Author video, is that, I told the freight company not to deliver my books while I was out of town, and then they tried to deliver them while I was out of town, and also specifically while it had been pouring down rain for days at that point. And I was like, do not fucking deliver my books. Do not fucking deliver my books in the rain. I'm 4 states away. Frankie's asleep. God damn it. I gotta fix my fucking shortcut button. Dang it. Dang it. I keep forgetting. Frankie will be awake in like 30 seconds. Give him a sec. Shipping is a nightmare. It truly is. I've recently been getting like some package returned. Like international packages like get stuck in customs and then get sent back and they don't tell you why they sent it back. And then I'm just like, hey, what the fuck? And then I have to just like stand in line at the post office and be like, hey, why'd they send this back? And they're just like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, cool. So now I have to just like refund my customer $20. And I just lose $20 because of y'all's incompetence. That's cool for me. That's a cool thing that has happened several times. I had to stop shipping to Brazil specifically because it kept happening. Like every single package that I shipped to Brazil, which was not many, but it was enough. And shipping there's like 20 bucks. And it was just like, oh my, I can't do this. I can't keep doing this. Ah. So that was a thing. I hate shipping. It's like my least favorite part of running a business is all the shipping. Logistics and shit. It drives me crazy. I'm just like, I want to pay somebody else to do this. I want to pay somebody else to do this. Why specifically Brazil, though? It's something about having to put their equivalent of your social security number on your package for customs purposes. And even when I do put it on there, I made sure I put it on there! Still got returned. For, like, just because they're like, you didn't do it right. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean I didn't do it right? It's right there on the package, I can see it. And they were just like, nah, you didn't do it right. I'm like, okay, well, fuck you then. Brazil. I'm sorry to the people who live in Brazil. I'm sure you're all perfectly pleasant, but I have major beef with your, I have major beef with your postal shipping. They caused me so much grief and strife. It's like Brazil mentioned, I'm sorry that your postage hates me. They don't like me. But yeah, basically it's just like one of the biggest perk of working with Makeshift is not having to do any of the hard parts. It's fucking awesome. I love to just like let somebody else do all the hard parts and then send me a check. It's fucking great. I'm actually considering, like trying to do the traditional publishing route for How to Webcomic. Just so I don't have to ship out the packages myself anymore. Just so that somebody else can do the shipping and logistics for me and I don't have to deal with customer service anymore. Huh. But I don't know a whole lot about traditional publishing. And I'm like, do I get an agent just for this one book specifically? Because I'm not planning on doing traditional publishing for Cast Off, at least. And I mean, the thing is that, like, I actually make a lot more money doing it all myself. So if I try to go the traditional publishing route, I'd have to get a real good deal with whatever agent I do. It's just like, listen, this book accounts for a pretty significant chunk of my monthly income, and I need it to stay that way, but also I don't want to have to ship them anymore. I'm running out of my physical copies, so I could reasonably, you know, try and switch to a different distributor. But that involves a lot of paperwork and a lot of time, and it's scary. It's scary. I don't want to sign away my baby that is essentially paying for my house, you know? hire someone else to do the shipping. That is the goal. But it's like, I just want to be able to like just send my stuff to a warehouse and be like, here's my shop orders. Ship this out for me when people order it. That would take so much stress off my back. So much of it. Make things so much easier. Have you thought about hiring someone to do the marketing for you while you focus on your art and webcomic? I mean, marketing? No, because I like to think that I'm pretty good at marketing. The marketing specifically is not the part I have problems with. If I was going to pass off anything to another person, it would be just like the shipping and logistics part of it. Like, I can handle the marketing. This is the marketing, yeah. The marketing is y'all are getting art streams this week because I need to advertise Ariana Plushie's available on Makeshift now. Link in the pinned comment. Link in the pinned comment and the description of the stream. Go get your Ariana plush. We've sold 211 of them so far. That's a couple new ones sold since the start of stream, which means it's working. It's working. The stream's sponsored by Makeshift. Exactly. I started reading Cast Off because of YouTube. Yeah, exactly. I mean, my thing is, and I don't like to talk about it this way because I feel like it makes me sound a little bit like cynical, like money, capitalism, blah, 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 guy. I want to stress that it was not the only reason. It was absolutely not the only reason. I had many, many, many reasons why I started my YouTube channel. It's not even the biggest reason, but one of the reasons why I started doing this is because I wanted to market the webcomic. I wanted to use my videos as another avenue to scream about the comic and try and get people to read it, and it fucking worked. Like, one of the reasons I made the video that I just posted this past Friday was because I was getting so many people reading the comic because they found it on YouTube, and I was like, you know what if I just made a video that will serve as like an entry point for people who have maybe thought about the webcomic, they've heard about it, but they haven't actually read it yet. What if this video could like serve as the thing that finally gets them to read it? And that's why I made the video that I just posted. You have the best marketing. We not only get to know Cast Off, we can connect with you with the creator. Yeah, I mean, that's how I like to think about it. I posted a video on my second channel the other day, which was like a stream highlight where I was talking about like kind of my relationship with being online and being perceived and all that stuff. And one of the people in the comments said that like one of the reasons they really like my stuff is because I'm so sincere. And I hadn't really thought about it that way, but I did really appreciate that comic because it's like, I do try to be sincere. Like the point of this channel is I'm putting myself out there. It's terrifying at times. It is absolutely horrifying at times, and boy howdy, my therapist has heard about it, but I mean, I to an extent, I do like putting myself out there, and there may come a day where that changes, but for right now, I think like, you know, just being myself and putting myself in front of a microphone and talking passionately about the things I make has helped people find the things that I make, and that has been fully invaluable since starting the channel. And that's like one of the biggest and most positive things that's come out of it, is so many new people are finding my work now because of it. And so that's why I keep telling my art friends is like, hey, if you make a story, yap about it on YouTube. And I can't guarantee that you'll be successful because no one can ever guarantee success, but the people are hungry. It's another reason why I've started doing promos for other webcomics in my videos. And I haven't done a webcomic promo in a couple videos. I haven't given up on them entirely, but I'll go ahead and say here, the reason I haven't done webcomic promos for my last couple of videos is just because it was me, the video topics were mostly me talking about my own personal projects, and it felt weird to spend an entire video talking about my own personal projects and then in the last like 5 minutes pivot to talking about something else entirely. And also here's this other thing that you can read. Just felt a little bit weird. But I am planning on going back and doing more of those when the video suits it. I'm gonna do one for my next video, case in point. In case anyone was wondering, I have not completely stopped. I just took a little break so that I could focus on, you know, yapping about my own shit. So, that's what happened there, in case anyone was curious. We got Vector, we got my son. So in like a month, I'm planning a video in early September, which is actually what this art is for. I'll go ahead and I'll yap about this a little bit. So my next video topic is talking about world building, but it's world building specifically by using your characters as a baseline. And so it's going to be similar to my designing random D&D character videos, but it's gonna be a little different because I'm building a character. I'm designing and talking about the development process for characters I'm actually planning on using in bigger projects. So this is Vesper. She's my baby who busted into my brain like the Kool-Aid Man. And this is Senna. She is like the grumpy teenage mentor for Vesper, and she's also a snow leopard girl. But yeah, so that's them. And then I have a third one. There's gonna be 3 characters whose name is Cameron, and I've showed pictures of them on stream before, but she's the one who I've been having the hardest time figuring out an outfit for. I know exactly what their face looks like. I don't know what the fuck they wear. And so I'm gonna be talking about world building by brainstorming your characters, because the way that I do world building is I think of my characters first and the stories that I want to tell with them, and then I basically shrink wrap the world building around the concepts for the characters that I want to have in the story. And so for right now, I've just been coming up with a lot of like hypothetical stories and concepts that might take place in this universe, with like stories I may or may not eventually turn into novels or novellas or whatever. And I'm just coming up with characters and potential situations to put them in, and I'm seeing how that works in the world building, and I'm making tweaks as I go, and I'm like, okay, well, if I want a character to be able to do this, then I should do this, and if I want a character who can do that, then I should do that, and all this other kind of stuff. And so I've been playing around and coming up with new characters and like drawing a lot. My sketchbook pages, I just posted a sketchbook page dump on Patreon a few days ago, has a lot of interactions with these two, and they're fun, and I like them. They're fun. But that's gonna be the topic of my September video. Is talking about that stuff. And I'm gonna have a sponsor for that video, so I have to get it out by a certain date. It's Milanote again. They love me. They love me so much. They keep coming back into my inbox and they're like, hey, can we give you more money? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, yeah, you can give me more money. Yeah, you can. It's perfect because I've been struggling with world building. There are things that are much harder than backgrounds, in my opinion. Yeah, of the trifecta of character, world, and story, I feel like my world building is my weakest. Just because I don't like thinking about the world building. I'm much more interested in playing with the characters and the stories. Oops. But so, I mean, this is what I did for Cast Off, is I came up with all the characters, and I figured out, like, kind of what I want their abilities to be, and I figured out what I want the characters to do, and I want to figure out, like, what their abilities are going to be, and I want to figure out, like, what's going to be special about them specifically. And then I was just like, okay, I need a world that incorporates all of these things, and then it just kind of dominoed together. So, it worked out. It worked out. And I mean, that's also what I'm kind of doing with Azure Mirage, is like, I have these characters, and I have a story for them. I just need a backdrop for the story that I'm going to tell with them. Bang, bang, boom, I just kind of figure out, it's like, okay, well, what do I need them to be able to do? What do I want them to be able to do? What do I want them to not be able to do? Like, what are the limits? And then I use that as the baseline for creating the world that I'm going to stick them in. That's how I world build for the most part. But see, my other thing is that for the longest time, I thought that was the wrong way to do it. I was like, yeah, this probably isn't the best way to, you know, like, design a story and do, like, world building and stuff, but it's the way I'm comfortable doing. I don't know if I'd recommend other people do it, but it works for me, even though it makes me feel like a little bit of a hack. But then, within the past couple of months, I started watching, like, videos of other writers kind of, like, talking about their process, and y'all know I stumbled on some Brandon Sanderson videos where he's giving his lectures and saying that he does the exact same shit. And I'm like, yay, I'm not a hack, woo! Or at least I feel like slightly less of a hack than I used to. Yippee-ki-yay. Xander Fernandez, thank you for the super chat. Hey Star, I'm wondering how much of Ashimura... Oh, is that... Okay, so it's 2 words. Azure Mirage is how the story is spelled. Like the word azure, like the shade of blue, and then mirage, like a mirage in the desert. That is how it's spelled, just for future reference. But as far as how much of it I have done, at this point, most of it is just stuff in my head and various notes in Obsidian that I've been, like, taking for the world building stuff. But it's pretty coherent in my head, but I actually was just last night poking at the outline. So my goal is to have an outline mostly done by November so I can do NaNoWriMo. And I'm gonna be just, like, slowly poking at it. But I also kind of realized last night that I kind of want to get the script for chapter 14 done before I dive straight into my next writing project. Because chapter 14 of Cast Off is still not entirely scripted. Oopsie doodles. So I feel like I need to focus on that. Or at least, you know, like, get a full first draft finished. Because chapter 14 of Cast Off is one of those ones where it's like... It's a lot of conversations, but they're very intense conversations. Which means that they're real hard to write. It's real hard to write. The second chapter 14 is out. I'm asking about the open arms animatic. It's gonna be more like chapter 15, if I'm being honest. Because chapter 14 is basically, hey, chapter 13 happened and now we have to deal with all the consequences of whatever the fuck that was. Do more flashbacks? There will be no flashbacks in chapter 14 and y'all will thank me for this. Y'all will thank me for it. Trust me. I already did a whole chapter that was flashback. I'm not doing another one. When is the next wave of offline cast off? I don't know what that means. I don't know what you mean by that. Star, I'm scared. You should be. Takes flashback off my future chapter 14 bingo card. That's cheating! Put that shit back on there and deal with the empty space. Put it back on there. PDFs, the comic save is PDF. Oh yeah, I haven't done PDF releases of the most recent chapters because I don't want to fuck around with InDesign right now. I'm on an InDesign hiatus. I'm on an InDesign hiatus because I hate it. I don't like InDesign. InDesign shot my child behind the Denny's. And I've sworn revenge. How many chapters do you think Cast Off will have? Probably something in like the low 20s. I don't know exactly. Yeah, InDesign killed my grandma. And I have personal beef with InDesign. InDesign killed my grandma, okay? Or whatever the meme is. Because I just had to do book design for both of the new books I'm gonna have at my next con, and that will eventually be online as well. I have the cast-off art book that I made. And then I also have my most recent sketchbook, the one that I just posted a sketchbook tour of. I'm also going to have printed editions of that at Sanjapan, and then any leftover copies I will be adding to my online store, and they will be restocked intermittently as they sell out. But I had to fight InDesign for both of those, and InDesign killed my parents. I hate InDesign. Fight, fight, fight. Monty Red Dragon, thank you for the super chat. Sup, Star? I hope you're having a good day. I am. I'm having an okay day. Thank you for the super chat. I'm chilling. I honestly got quite a bit done that I wanted to get done today, and so I'm very pleased with the productivity. And also, wait, I just realized you guys are gonna make fun of me for saying this. I'll tell you what I did, but you're not allowed to make fun of me. Hear me, chat? If one person leaves a comment making fun of me, I'm ending stream. I'll tell you what I did today, but if you say it, if anybody makes fun of me, I'm ending the stream. I'm ending the stream if anyone makes fun of me. I bought another journal. And it got delivered today. I bought another one. I got another one. So I said don't make fun of me! I said don't make fun of me! I said that if anyone makes fun of me, I'm ending stream. You're good, girly. I have so many journals. I have so many. The 5-year one? Yeah, okay. So I now have many journals. Okay. So I have in my collection, I have my Hobonichi, which is my daily planner / journal. I write in it literally every single day. I have not missed a day the entire year. I've been consistently writing in it, and it's awesome. It has helped significantly with my mental health. I will be making a video at the end of the year talking about the process of falling into daily journaling and how much it has helped me, and like some of my stuff that I do to keep up with it. And then I have so the Hobonichi is intended to also be a planner. I kind of stopped using it as a planner, and now I have a separate planner that lives on my desk. Hobonichi Techo. Yeah, I fell down the Hobonichi rabbit hole last year, and I've never recovered. I've been watching all the daily announcements because they're announcing their lineup for next year, and I'm like, they have not shot me in the wallet yet, but there's still time. I started a dream journal. I haven't been keeping up with it. I mostly started it because I had a book that would work well for it. It was just like a small little hardback book that I bought a long time ago, and it has like a little night sky design on it. I bought it when I lived in Japan several years ago, and I literally never did anything with it, but I saw it on my bookshelf. I'm like, this would make for a good dream journal, and I feel like I want to start writing down what my dreams are about, because I feel like every time I have a dream, it's a stress dream, and I feel like maybe I need to unpack that. So I have that one. So that's 3. But I honestly, I haven't been keeping up with the dream journal one very much, but it did make me realize I dream more frequently than I thought I did. I just have a tendency to forget my dreams immediately. So I have my Hobonichi, which is like my daily journal. I have my weekly planner, which I keep on my desk and is literally just for like keeping track of all my work shit. It's my to-do list daily, like weekly planner keeper of tasks, etc. I have a dream journal, which at this point is mostly going on vibes. And now I have a 5-year diary, which is basically every day. It's basically a 1-year diary, but each page it's dedicated to each day is broken up into 5 sections. And the idea is you write a couple sentences about your day every day in this planner, and then, like, at the end of it, you'll have a diary of what, like, 5 years in your life were like. And I don't know, I just kind of thought the concept was neat. And I realized I was gonna buy one at the beginning of this year, but I was like, well, let's see if I could actually keep up with the daily journal. And the answer is that yes, I can. And so then I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, I kind of want to get a 5-year journal for, I kind of want to get a 5-year journal and start it, because then if I start one at the start of 2026, then it will end right at the start of 2030. And I love the nice round number. And then I realized, no, if I wanted to end right at the start of 2030, have it start right at the start of the decade, I would have needed to start it this year. And then I was like, okay, well, wait. I can backfill it with relevant information from my daily journal that I've been keeping. And then I can, you know, start it, quote unquote, this year. And then I'll have it end right at the start of 2030. Maybe just skip a couple pages. I mean, it's 8 months worth of daily pages, so... But yeah, I'm probably not going to fill it out entirely. I'm just going to do, like, important days. Where, like, something eventful was happening. But going forward, I will be filling it every single day. And it's not a lot. You have room to write, like, 2 sentences per day. So it's not like a huge time commitment on top of everything else, but I think it would be nice to just, like, you know, once you finish the year, then you go back and write in the second year, and you can say, on this day, like last year, you were doing this, and I can be like, oh, well, on this day this year, I'm doing this. And it's kind of, I want to use it to, like, track my progress for, like, the comic and just my mental health in general. I just wanted to use it to, like, be able to compare year to year how things have changed. You can on this day social media reminder yourself. Exactly. That's basically what it is. 8 months. No, 2025 just started, right? God, I keep realizing, is like, what the fuck do you mean we're already almost halfway done with August? What do you mean? This year just been flying the fuck by for anybody else? I feel like this year has been going at, like, a fucking breakneck speed. And it's a little bit, like, a little scary, honestly. Where it's like, yeah, you know, time gets faster as you go older, but I feel like I've just... Not gonna mince words here, gang. I've spent at least half of this year kind of in the stress depression hole. And I feel like that's not helping my perception of time. But it still feels like crazy how fast this year is going. I'm just like, hey, hello? Help? Help? We're going too fast and I'm uncomfortable. It's scary. I start school tomorrow. Ha ha! Kids have to go to school. I have to go to work. That was one of the hardest things about transitioning into adulthood for me, was realizing that you don't really get summer break anymore. You just, like, I remember my very first, like, office job was just like, yup, it's summer. You still gotta clock in tomorrow. And I'm just like, aw, what the hell? I'm used to getting, like, 3 months of summer off for summer vacation. And it's just like, nah, you don't get that anymore. That's a kid's privilege. And I'm like, damn it. Damn it. At least I don't have to pay taxes. Ugh, critical damage to me. Critical damage to me. What's the fucking quote is like, so I am, so soon you shall be too. Which is basically like a poetic way of saying, nah, it's gonna happen to you too. It's gonna happen to you too. You too will at some point have to pay taxes. Mark my fucking words. I will say though, if you are a school-aged person and whether you enjoy school or not, I hope that you will find condolences, comfort perhaps in. Everyone says that high school is the worst years of the best years of your life. It's not. It's so not. Like, yeah, I'm an adult. I have to pay taxes. I have to go to work, and it's like bleh. But the sheer amount of independence you gain as an adult, fucking game-changing. Like, even just learning how to drive for me was like a huge thing. And like, I hated driving when I was younger, and I mean, I still kind of do, but the freedom of being able to go wherever the hell you want, whenever the hell you want, is so freeing, and that independence is so, like, it changes everything. It changes a lot. So if you are in high school or like any kind of school currently, and you're kind of miserable and you're surrounded by people who tell you that high school is the best time of your life, no it isn't. No it isn't. Being an adult fucking rules. Like, yeah, you're responsible for your own actions, but also you can go get yourself a treat whenever you want because you're a fucking adult and no one can tell you that you can't go to the boba place. And it's awesome. Like, even college is better than high school, yeah. In college, if you're nice to your teachers, you'll be fine. You'll generally be fine. No, you had it right the first time, yeah. I mean, I was okay with high school. Like, I don't have any, like, super negative stories to tell about high school, but I mean, I still, like, look back on it. I'm just like, yeah, that wasn't enjoyable, really. I had things that I enjoyed. My joy from high school came from, like, the extracurriculars that I did. It did not come from just being in school. I found things to like, but that was after a lot of experimentation. When I joined high school, when I went to high school, I joined Color Guard, and that was like the best thing I ever did in high school. There's an alternate universe star that was a theater kid, and she turned out different. But finding like a physically engaging extracurricular activity was very good for me. But high school in general was just like, yeah, I don't miss that. I don't miss having to study for tests. I don't miss like all this shit that school made you do. I don't miss getting stressed out about my grades. I don't miss any of that shit. I miss being able to like see my friends every single day. That's about it. Marching band was awesome, best part of high school. Yeah, I was technically not in band. I was in color guard, which means that we rode the bus with the band kids, but we were not technically band kids. I will have a sip of my drink now. The people that say that high school is the best years of your life are the people that never really lived. Yeah, people who say that high school is the best years of your life, they peaked in high school and they miss the, like, social clout and reputation they used to have. That's what you need to know about that kind of person. And generally, people who peaked in high school are kind of hard to be around. Imagine peaking in high school, skill issue. Honestly, I feel like I peaked in my 30s. I say as though I'm not still in my early 30s, but like, you know, everyone says is like, I'm scared of getting older, I'm scared of this and that, I'm scared of not being in school anymore, I'm scared of da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Just live. Just be a human and be alive and take it as it comes and don't, it's okay to like, I understand the whole like being scared of the unknown thing, but it's only as unknown as you make it. Like, use it as an opportunity to try new things, you know? I started my YouTube channel 1 month before I turned, less than a month, like 2 weeks before I turned 30 is when I started my YouTube channel. And I would say that aside from starting the webcomic, starting the YouTube channel is one of the best things I ever did. And it's awesome. People who say is like, I'm in my 20s and I don't know, it's too late to start doing what I want to do. It's not. Do you still have the physical ability to do the thing that you want to do? Then just do it. Just do it. The only thing at this point holding you back is yourself. Right? Like, just do the dang thing. Like, if I was so distracted by, like, oh, I can't start a YouTube channel, I'm 30, then none of us would be here right now, you know? Need to live for yourself and your own happiness. Exactly. Exactly. I erase these lines and I just realized that I don't need to erase them. I actually need to use them. Ha 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 ha. I'm a professional. I'm very good at my job, which is drawing cute little anime girls all day. That's really not what I do all day. I draw cute anime girls, if I'm lucky, once a week. But whenever I'm joking about my job to like my mom or whatever, I'm like, I can't go shopping with you, Mom. I have to draw cute little anime girls today. And she'll be like, come shopping with me anyway. And I'm like, okay. She'll be like, come shopping with me anyway. You can draw cute little anime girls later. I'm like, okay. This art stream became an existential crisis therapy stream. I mean, I would say therapy stream. I would not say existential crisis. I'm calming y'all down from an existential crisis, if you were having one. This is anti-Star being like, hey, it's okay. Like, there's always that old adage of like, oh, Oprah didn't start doing her thing until she was in her 30s. Harrison Ford didn't start acting until what, he was like 45 or something? And I'm telling you right now, like, I didn't start my YouTube channel. I started my YouTube channel exactly 2 weeks before my 30th birthday. You have time. You have time. If you needed someone to tell me that, then I will tell that. If you needed someone to tell you that, then I will tell you that. You have time. I'm looking deep into your eyes right now, chat. I am staring at you. Oh, hold on. What's this? I'm gonna stop moving for a second. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Okay, cool. I just got a text from my mom that my cousin was in a motorcycle accident. Okay. He's fine, but I just got sent several pictures from the hospital. Goddamn, my cousin. Oh, yeah. They said he's fine, but all right. That's now 2 people in the family who have been in really bad motorcycle accidents. I have to give him a firm handshake next time I see him. Be like, yeah, I've been there. He looked way worse off than I did, though. He was probably going faster. Do you need to take 5 minutes? No, I'm fine. I'm alright. That's just, woof. That's why we wear helmets, kids. Gosh dang. Glad he's okay. Yeah, just while we're on the topic of, you know, like general life PSAs, hey, wear your seatbelts, wear a helmet, don't fucking die for a stupid reason. We can say that much. You have time. 5 seconds later, my cousin got in a motorcycle accident. Yeah, welcome to my streams. Welcome to my, yeah, don't stare directly into the sun. Wear a helmet when you ride on bikes. Remember, take a bag on extra long hikes. If you get that reference, congratulations, you're cringe. I'm kidding. At this point, that is probably a more niche meme than it was a couple years ago. Star advice for the day. Start your projects, don't die. Yeah, basically. Like, when my dad was going through his midlife crisis, he had, like, this big fucking Harley Davidson motorcycle that he would drive around without a helmet on. And I'm just like, Dad, I almost died in a scooter accident. And you're still driving around without your fucking motorcycle helmet? Made me so mad. Thankfully, he eventually rediscovered his will to live and sold it. Sold it. And then went to build a house in the woods with my mom. He figured his shit out, and I'm like, you know what? Good. I'm happy for you, Dad. Still doesn't wear a seatbelt though, and it pisses me off. Don't be like my dad, chat. Wear a helmet. Wear a seatbelt. Don't die in a stupid way. Because if you die in a stupid way, you will become a ghost, and if you have a seance and you have to tell people how you die, they're gonna be like, well, why the fuck didn't you wear a helmet? Why didn't you wear a seatbelt? That's stupid. You're stupid. That's stupid, and you're stupid. And then you can't even haunt them because they're just like, yeah, well, you're dumb, so I'm not gonna let you haunt my house. Get salted, idiot. But and you throw salt at them. It's like, yeah, now you're stupid from beyond the grave. Where you wear a helmet. If there is an easy way to not die and you don't take it, I think you're an idiot. Just in general, that is a universal truth. A universal truth of the world. If there is a stupid way to stay safe and not die and you purposely don't take it, I think you're stupid. If you ride a motorcycle and you don't wear a helmet, I think you're stupid. If you're driving in a metal can going 65 miles an hour and you don't wear a fucking seatbelt, like the most basic shit you can do to keep yourself alive, I think you're stupid. That's just, I'm being controversial on my stream today. Wow. Don't die in a stupid way. Because then I'm gonna go throw salt at your ghost and I'm gonna tell you that you're stupid from beyond the grave. And that's facts. Me on my ghost hunting show. Don't put me on a ghost hunting show. I'd be so mean. I'd be so mean. I'd be like, oh yeah, how'd you fucking die? Jack Douglas? Yeah, we've seen this. Promise? Yes. Okay, no, listen. All you guys need to know about my experience with ghosts. One, the Jack Douglas clip, but also two, I literally was being haunted when I lived in Japan. I told the ghost to fuck off, and then I never got haunted again. That is a real fucking story. That is a real story. That's real. That is a real story. Anyone who's hearing that and is surprised needs to go watch my video where I talk about being haunted. My ghost stories video. It's one of the earliest videos on my channel. Earliest storytime videos anyway. But when I lived in Japan, I had never had night terrors before I moved to Japan. And about a year into living there, I started having night terrors. I started having nightmares of like this black, like shadowy human silhouette like standing in the corner of my bedroom and staring at me. And sometimes it was like hovering, and sometimes it was just like at the corner of my bed. Sometimes it was just like sitting at the corner of my bed. And it happened repeatedly and it freaked me out. And then one time, like, you know, I would get sleep paralysis, so I would just like have to sit there and just stare at it in my sleep. There was one night where the sleep paralysis demon started moving for the first time. It was like hovering over my bed and it was slowly getting closer and closer. And I was like hearing feedback noises in my ear. It was like tinnitus, but like speaker feedback noises, and it just kept getting louder and louder and louder and louder, and it was so freaky. And I remember I busted through the sleep paralysis, and I actually out loud yelled, "Fuck off!" And I yelled so loud I woke myself up out of the sleep paralysis. And that was the last time I ever had night terrors. So if you're being haunted, just tell the ghost to fuck off and they'll leave you alone. And that is a 100% true story. I never had sleep terrors again, or I'd never had night terrors again. I have not had sleep paralysis since that incident. That is a true story. That happened. Put me on a ghost hunting show. My next comic idea is ghost hunter related, actually, but it's more of like a side thing. That's that Bloodstream comic I keep talking about. I don't know if I've talked about it. It's been a while. Basically, vampire ace lesbian rom-com story. But also the main character is a film student, or like a film school dropout, something along those lines. And she's helping her friends film a YouTube show where they hunt ghosts. And it's a big part of the plot of the vampire lesbian roommates rom-com. I'll make that eventually, but not until Cast-Off's over, probably. Oh my god, they were roommates, yeah. The whole conceit is, the main character is a normal human, but her roommate is a vampire, and she's like a vampire Twitch streamer, with the whole caveat being that she doesn't show up on camera. And she got super popular because she plays really into the shtick because it's real. And so the basic premise, aside from the rom-com aspects of it, is that the main character realizes that she's a streamer and asks her to help, is like, hey, can you help us with our help us with our internet game so that we can start earning money from our ghost hunting show and we don't have to shut down. And it turns into like a whole thing. So in like 10 years, listen, you don't have to call me out like that. You don't have to call me out like that. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, it's definitely definitely a byproduct of going to art school in a very haunted town. What will happen to your babies once Cast-Off is over and you start this new webcomic? I mean, nothing. They will continue to exist. I'm not going to wipe them off the face of the earth. They'll keep doing their thing. They're my babies. I very rarely retire OCs. Most of the characters that I've come up with in the past couple of years, I'm still actively using. Or at least I would like to use them at some point. The other thing I've thought about just writing the vampire rom-com story and getting someone else to draw it. I pressed the wrong button at some point and now my bounding box is not showing up. Maybe. My poor son is looking a little wonky-eyed. Heckin' gnats. Will you make spin-off stories with when Cast-Off ends? I can't tell you anything about what I'm gonna do when Cast-Off ends because that's gonna be like at least 5 years from now. I don't think that far ahead. I don't think that far ahead. But yeah, I've considered just writing the vampire rom-com story and then like getting someone else to draw it. That could be fun, but that's just like one more project that I have to add to my plate, and I don't know who I'd hire as the artist for it, is my other thing. I'd want someone with a cutesy art style. No more projects unless it's vacation or self-care. You can't tell me what to do, Holly. You can't tell me what to do. Shut. Do you have advice for those who want to make a webcomic by chance? Check out my entire YouTube channel and also the book I wrote about it. I literally wrote a book about it. It's called How to Webcomic. If you just Google How to Webcomic, it should pop up. I have many advices. That's all I'm gonna say on the matter because I don't want to, like, I made a whole YouTube, like, we were talking about my motivation for making a YouTube channel. This is another one. So that I can archive all my tips and advice and not have to repeat them on stream. How to webcomic is peak, it's on my floor. Well, pick it up! What's it doing down there? It's not peak, that's floor! It's whatever the opposite of peak is. Peak implies that it's high. If you had it like on top of a bookshelf, it'd be peak. On the floor is not peak. Man, you've done so much. You wrote a book, lived in Japan, and now have a successful webcomic and YouTube channel. Yeah, things just keep happening. Things just keep happening. I have a very, constantly changing lifestyle. So to speak. But I realized not long ago that, being a full-time artist, like what I do now, doing like freelance and stuff, it's the longest I've ever held down a job, and I'm not kidding. It's, because I had a job at Bees Lake Phylactery that sucked. Hate working food service, not great. I liked the free cheesecakes, and that was about it. I worked at that education company for like a little under 3 years. I worked in Japan for 2 years. And then I've been doing this for next month. It will be 6 years since I started doing this. I only started the YouTube channel about 3 years ago, but I've been doing the whole indie artist thing since 2019. I started the fall before the pandemic began, is how I remember. Love the little Ariana plush on your shoulder. Way to market the campaign. Yeah, she's my little shoulder gremlin. And if you want a shoulder gremlin of your very own, you can check out the Makeshift link. It's linked in the pinned comment at the top of chat and also in the description of the video itself. So if you want to get an Ariana plushie, you only have 2 weeks from the time of streaming this. Because it will end on, I believe, the 26th of August. And then there is not going to be an opportunity to get an Ariana plush after that point. There is no guarantee for a rerun of these plushies, so if you really, really want one, you need to get one within the next 2 weeks. Hint, hint. Also, if we get up to, 400 plushies sold, then I get a pay raise. So that's also cool. We're gonna try to aim for at least that many. But I mean, like, Vector sold like 700. So I'm hoping we can get at least up to 5 with Ariana, but I'm tempering my expectations because I know she's not as popular. All right, I think we're done inking my babies here. Inking. We've inked the babies. We've inked the babes. I'm gonna get my documents with the color references open. Watch Frankie sell 1,000. I mean, I'd love that. But again, I'll repeat what I said earlier. We aren't going to be guaranteed a Frankie plushie unless the Ariana one sells well, so. Okay, let me. Oh, that was different. That's the eye colors. This is also, this is a sticker sheet that I made of the babies, and I'm just gonna use this as my color reference here. Because the colors are a little bit brighter than how I usually color them in the comic. Do I have time-lapse turned on for this? I do. Okay, we're good. Okay. Boop. And boop. And then gold and his pants color. Honestly a little bit bright. I'm probably going to tone those down just a smidge, but we're getting just the base colors down first. Look at my baby son. Look at my baby boy. Look at my baby boy. Would you consider making the pillow plushies like the Rune Factory characters of the cast-off characters? That is something that I considered before we started doing the stuff with Makeshift. It was gonna be on my my thing that I said was that if Makeshift ghosts me again, I'm gonna start just doing the pillow plushies, but Makeshift did not ghost me. So we started doing those instead of the, like, other plushies. And, like, I might do them eventually, but I think what I would prefer to do instead is just let Makeshift handle it, because it's very convenient to not have to worry about it. Speaking of shilling, here, this is another another sticker sheet. I made 2 sticker sheets for Azure Mirage recently. If folks are interested in that, I have one that's like all the Lapis side characters and one that's all the Laz side characters, and they're very cute. So, you know, if you guys are interested in that, those are up on my store now. Those just got shipped to me a few days ago, and they're very, very cute. You guys can get my little babies to stick on your things. I just got mine and they're adorable. Yeah! Thank you for purchasing my babies. I did think that I was kind of jumping the gun a little bit, like making sticker sheets for this comic project I've barely started. But at the same time, I just really wanted them to exist. And I figured, well, you know, people who are really into my YouTube stuff will like these. For now, at the very least. Bare minimum, we'll have a couple people who would do it. And a couple people have bought them, which is nice. And I'm gonna, like, bring them to conventions and stuff from now on. So that's gonna be fun. But also, I kind of wanted them. So much of my merch is like, I want this thing, so I'm gonna make it for me. And then if anybody else relates to it, they can also have it. So much of my merch is that. When's your next con? San Japan in San Antonio, Texas. And that's the last one I'm confirmed for right now. I've applied for a couple of other conventions that I haven't heard back from yet. So no guarantees on those. But I will hopefully have news soon. Star, do you ever think you'd be actually up to working on an indie show? If I didn't have to animate it, then sure. Then sure. It's like, I think it's been long enough. I can talk about it. I actually was approached several years ago, to see if I wanted to try pitching Cast Off as an animated series. It didn't end up going anywhere. But that was a thing that almost happened. And largely the reason it didn't is because the people who approached me about it ghosted me. But yeah, there was also like some other reasons why I didn't go with them. It's like, they weren't saying, hey, we want to animate this and like we are a studio with money behind us. They were like, hey, do you have any interest in pitching this to us? And I'm like, yeah, I guess, but it was just like a weird situation, and it didn't end up working out for a couple different reasons. But I mean, if any, you know, like actual studios want to get in my inbox, I'm open to it. I'm open to the idea. My one concern is that, like, what if I want the comic to be the first and foremost thing. And so I worry that, like, I know that animated pilots take years and years to, like, animated series take a long time to make, but I worry about, like, the anime problem, where the animation version catches up too fast, and then it's like, okay, well, we don't want to spoil the comic, but we've reached the end of what we can reasonably do. Okay, I pressed some button, and now my toolbar is not showing when I have things selected. Hold on. Because there's, like, should be a toolbar that pops up, and I think I may have accidentally hit the wrong toolbar, and now my selection stuff is not showing up. That ain't it. I'm gonna Google this really quick. Give me 1 second, chat. Entertain yourselves for a few minutes. Turn on selection launcher from the view menu. View selection launcher. There it is. Okay, cool. I fixed it. I fixed it. I don't know how I turned it off, but I fixed it. I don't think it even shows up for you guys. It's just like a UI thing on my end. But there's like a little bar at the bottom that tells you, like, it just has a bunch of, like, shortcuts. And it just makes things convenient. Ugh. Figure out what button it is, can you let us know? It's apparently something you can check off in the view menu. It's called the selection launcher. And you just have to make sure that it's ticked off. That's what the help article said. I have done that before, but I think I just pressed the wrong shortcut key earlier and it forked it up. I'm sure that by the next time it happens, I will have forgotten it, and I'll have to look it up again. As is what happens. Look at my little babies! They're so cute! Little precious angel babies. Hanging out together. Hanging out together. Being buddies. I do think that these two would probably be friends in real life. Or, I guess not in real life, but, like, if they ever crossed paths, I feel like they would find each other relatable. They're so happy, not traumatized. Now listen, they're still traumatized. They just have a little happy moment of them being cute together. Just a happy little moment of them being cute together. Little babies. Sweet little babies. My two children with weird magic and pointy ears and shy personalities that are also, like, really quick-witted and good at, like, thinking up stuff. They're just my cute babies, my children's. They're traumatized together, exactly. Is Lapis affected by Vector's eyes, or does she have plot armor? I feel like she would be, but in this specific instance, we're gonna ignore that for the sake of just drawing them being cute together. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You pick Vector up and you put him in another cannon, and then the eyes don't work anymore. It's fine. Do it. AU's shenanigans. We don't worry about the logistics of the magic system. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. How's your book going? All of your writing and character design vids have helped so much. First of all, thank you. Second of all, I haven't done too much actual writing yet. I've been poking at the outline, but that's about it. I'm trying to get an outline together before NaNoWriMo starts in November. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Hey guys, does the stream look okay on your end? I think that there was maybe a brief blip. An internet blip. Is it showing is fine now? It did just pause for me? Okay, well maybe it was just... Maybe it blipped for a moment, but the error message is still showing up, so... Okay, I guess maybe just my internet farted. There was a little internet fart, but at least it seems like we're back now, so we're good, and I'm just gonna keep chugging. Look at my babies. I'm going to tweak these colors a little. Okay, the warning message just went away. I think we're fine. I'm gonna tweak these colors a smidge. Just a smidgen. Itty bitty smidge. Vector's looking a little bit more pastel than I would usually draw him. But yeah, so my goal is to get an outline at least mostly done before National Novel Writing Month in November. Aside from that, I'm just kind of chilling loose with it. I have been thinking that I do kind of want to, like, find a local writers group or something that I can go to just to, like, because I don't know if I'd be able to, like, actually show them any of my stuff for, like, actual critique, but I would love to get just, like, some ideas on how to make my prose a little stronger, you know, like maybe occasionally bring in, like, segments of what I'm writing just to be like, hey, how does this prose sound to you? Because, like, I've never written prose before. Wasn't NaNoWriMo kind of sworn off with the AI stuff they were trying to permit? I want to stress that the challenge NaNoWriMo, the challenge National Novel Writing Month, is not the same as the organization and nonprofit that is behind National Novel Writing Month. Two completely separate things. I have no affiliation or really even knowledge about the organization. I just know, like, the challenge, which is write 50,000 words in a month. And that's what I'm doing. I didn't even really know that there was, like, a whole organization, nonprofit. I'm just like, I'm just here to write and do stuff, and the challenge helps keep me on track for the month. So whenever I talk about NaNoWriMo, I'm talking specifically about doing the challenge. I have no affiliation or, like, intentions with the organization. I just like to do the challenge, that's all. The closest I ever got was, like, I used the website to keep track of my word count by just updating it every day, but I, like, never uploaded anything to the site. I never did any of that. That's about it. I think I'm gonna ink the other one first, actually, and then come back to finish the coloring. Is she ever going to meet Vector in the actual cast-off story? No, because Lapis is not in cast-off. Lapis is an entirely separate story all to her own. I just wanted to draw a silly little crossover because I thought it would be fun and I like drawing my blorbos. I like to draw them. My blorbitos. My petite blorbitos. My little babies. But yeah, in general, I have like a general loose idea of what I want to do with pretty much the entire plot of the Lapis novel. But I need to sit down and figure out an outline so I can make sure that all of the sequencing makes sense. And I'm a type of writer, it's like I like to have an outline to work from just because it lets me kind of figure out the broad strokes of what I'm going to be doing without spending a lot of time writing something that ultimately isn't going to work. I like building a foundation, but leaving room to be quirky with it, if that makes sense. There's like the whole thing where it's like, are you a gardener or are you an architect? And like an architect is like an outliner. You plan things really far and you like plan out your story before you start writing it. And a gardener just kind of starts writing and lets things happen. I would consider myself an architect with a rooftop garden. Maybe some window boxes. Where it's like, for the most part, I like to plan things in advance, but if spontaneity arises, then I don't shoo it away. Especially because when I'm writing is often when I come up with my best ideas. Like while I'm actually putting things onto the page. And so I like to leave things open for that. That's how I write cast off too, is generally I'll have like an outline for the chapter. And then I'll start working my way in with like actual dialogue and stuff. And we'll start. But yeah, so I have been doing some preliminary searching on just like writers groups in my city, just to kind of see what I can find. Because I think that would be good for me, because I don't really have any kind of background in like prose writing. Pretty much everything I've written for most of my life has been scripts for comics. And now, like, I write scripts for YouTube videos. But that's different than, like, being able to weave a satisfying sentence together, you know? And so I'd love to join, like, some sort of writing critique group to, you know, like, make my prose a little better. Just, like, get some outside opinions, do all that. And, like, for those who don't know, I actually have posted some of my prose. I've written a handful of short stories that are posted to my Unveil if folks are interested in going to read those. I wrote a couple of just like really short little practice stories with Verity that honestly, like, they're okay. I mostly just kind of was practicing with them. The one I'm still pretty proud of is the short story I wrote for Lazuli, which is not canon anymore because I've changed a lot of stuff for the novel version. So if you go read that, go in with the mindset that a lot of stuff has changed, and a lot of the stuff in there isn't canon anymore, or at least it's not going to be canon to the novel. But I'm still pretty proud of that short story, if I'm being completely honest. I reread it last night. And it's hard to call it a short story because it is 6,000 words. But if folks want to read that, I can drop a link to it. Because I think of the 3 short stories that I wrote, I feel like that one came out the best. I will drop that link in chat. Beep boop. I have a writery friend who likes to imagine scenes as movies and comics and describing them in prose, so you're halfway there already. Yeah, like, okay, so my thing is, you know, I've been writing for a long time because I write cast off. And I also wrote my previous webcomic. And like, I'm not a novice writer. I'm a novice at writing prose specifically. And so it's like, you know, it's very writing prose and like stringing together a nice sentence and making the words play together is an entirely different medium than like writing a script for a comic, you know? Because like you have to focus on different things. And so it's like, I think that I can weave a story together. I think that I can come up with a compelling characters and stories. You're not new to writing, but you're new to writing. Exactly. And it's like, I did do a little bit of writing in college, but I kind of hated those classes because the professor was a asshole. Who told me I would never make it as a writer. Well, I probably make more money than him now, so shut the fuck up. It's my not so humble brag, but that professor was kind of a shithead. And I just get to be like, yeah, well, you know what, sir? Eat my whole ass. Eat my whole ass. I make random teenagers on the internet cry with my stories, and what do? Make random teenagers in your college courses cry because you're such a bitch. Anyway. Yeah, I actually considered doing like, it all started with Verity because I was originally planning on making Verity's story into a visual novel. And I was like, ooh, I could do it as a visual novel. And wouldn't that be cool and interesting? And then like I could, you know, reuse assets and I could just like make the world, like originally that was the plan, is I was going to do a visual novel. But my thing is that I have no interest in game dev whatsoever. And I felt like it would be more accessible as just like a book. So I'm like, I'll just write a book and I'll put some pictures in it. If anyone would be willing to do like all of the coding and all the hard parts of making a visual novel, then I'd make a visual novel. But I don't want to do that. I'd rather just write it as a book at this point. A book with pictures. Visual novels are fun, but I don't want to code all that. I'd rather just write it. So I feel like I read more novels than I play visual novels. And so just coming from that is like, I think I'd rather just make a book. That feels more accessible to me. I could actually use my degree for its intended purpose. Ooh! I mean, hey, listen. If you're serious, we can talk about this later, but no pressure or anything. But that could be fun. I'd be willing to write something. I do like writing. I'd be willing to write something. I sat down and had a good long think with myself, and I was just like, I don't want to get into game dev. I don't wanna. It sounds hard. It sounds hard, and I'm not that excited about it. I feel like I'd be more excited about making a book than making a game. And it's true. I sat down and had a good long think with myself, and I was like, yeah, I think I'd be happier just writing a novel than trying to make a game out of it. A lot of my my fellow comics people are now turning to visual novels, and I'm like, good on you, not gonna be me. Couldn't be me. I also just really, like, my favorite part of writing as a beleaguered comic artist is that I can just write things and then it's done. I can just write it and then I'm done and it's over and it's finished. And it's amazing. That's like my favorite part of like writing prose is I can just write something and then I'm done. And then I don't have to do anything else. It's incredible. Because like with comics, you have to write it, And then you have to draw all that shit. You also have to draw all that shit. It's like, I already wrote this. Do I have to draw it? And then it's like, yeah, you wanted to make this a comic. And if you want it to be a comic, you also have to draw the comic. And I'm like, damn it. Shit. You're right, though. And then, like, with a visual novel, you'd be like, okay, I finished writing it. Now I have to draw the art for it and do all the coding and figure out music and UI and all this other stuff. And then my brain explodes because I don't know how to do any of that shit. It gets hard when you have to deal with a ton of interconnected systems and physics, but a visual novel wouldn't be too complicated. Yeah, because, like, I've seen people who, you know, like, I know that there's, like, RenP, which is just, like, a game engine that's designed for visual novels, and it's supposed to be really, really easy to learn. And I've tried watching tutorials, and my brain explodes. Here's something y'all need to know about Star, is that coding kills the Star. Coding breaks my brain. I go crying to my webmaster every time I need to make a change to the website, and I cry until she changes it for me. That's how I made Castoff's website, is I cried to a friend and I held out my wallet and I was like, fix it! And then she did. Not only do you have to write it for a visual novel, now you have to write like 15 branches of a story and glue them all together. I mean, I've heard that there are visual novels that don't necessarily have branching story paths. Like Ace Attorney is a visual novel without branching story paths, and people love those games. And so I feel like if I made a visual novel, it would probably be something more along those lines, where it's like, there is a specific story I am trying to tell here. And I might have a couple of, like, little dialogue choices just to keep conversations funny, but I think that, like, you know, the grand scheme of the story will stay the same for the most part. There are a lot of visual novels that are basically slideshows with music. And if I did one, that is kind of the route that I would want to go down. I'm less interested in telling a branching story and more in telling one really strong, cohesive story. Kind of how I look at it. But yeah, my thing right now is that, I keep, okay, so I'm gonna talk about this in my next video. So we'll go into this a little more in the future. But I should state that Azure Mirage is the Lapis novel. But that is not the name of, like, the world as a whole. The world as a whole, I'm planning on... So my plan, and I've talked about this, is that I want to build a fantasy universe that I can just reuse over and over and over again for a bunch of different stories that I want to tell, all in the same universe. Because I don't like world building, but I like coming up with little guys and putting them in situations, but I don't like having to make a new world for them every single time. And so the world that I am developing for Azure Mirage, which is the Lapis novel, is also going to have a bunch of other stories that I'm going to tell in that connected universe. The stories themselves will probably not have much of anything to do with each other aside from taking place in the same universe. Oh, my mom is calling. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, gamers. My mommy called. She was like, what are you doing? And I was like, streaming. And she's like, ah, that's why you didn't respond to my text. But yeah, she was calling about my cousin. Short answer, he's fine. He's just real road rashed, apparently. And that happened last night at like midnight. He was speeding down the highway and a car cut him off and he had to swerve. So my mom was like, it was his fault and he knows it, but he's fine. He's just real road rashed. And I'm like, how far did he skid? And she's like, well, we don't know that. But apparently the worst of it was just like a lot of scraping from the road. He apparently fled the hospital at 4 a.m. because he's like, they were like, listen, we don't have anyone who can come and check your x-rays until like 7. He was like, fuck it. And so he snuck out of the hospital and he left. And then he went to work in the morning. Like this morning. And I'm like, dude. But at the same time, I know what side of my family I get that from now. Because I did the exact same shit. I did the exact same shit when I got in my car accident. Granted, mine happened on like a Friday, and so I didn't have to go to school the next day. But by golly, I showed up to class on Mondays with a black eye and a broken wrist, and then my professor was just like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I have class. And he was like, okay, fair play. And this was the same professor who was constantly on our asses, like, if you get sick, you better still get your work done. In this industry, you're gonna get fired if you don't get your work done, you don't show up for work, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And then he gets all surprised when I show up for class with a broken wrist and a black eye and a couple of chipped teeth, and he's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what do you mean? I have class. You're the last person to be surprised. You should be the last person surprised by this outcome. And I like to think that he gained a few points of respect for me that day. Because I'm cool. Damn it. And I wear a helmet. But yeah, my cousin is actually, he's a production assistant on a TV show. I will not tell you guys what TV show he works for. But he works for a TV show, and you all know what it is. If I said the name, you would probably be like, maybe you've never watched it, but you know what it is. And so he said he tried to go into work this morning, and everyone was just like, what the hell happened to you? Because he's like covered in like scrapes and bruises, and he's like got like, you know, just like bandages all over. And he's just like, yeah, I was in a car accident, but I'm ready to work. And they're like, no, go home. No, go home. And so he got a go home notice. It's not MILF Manor, what the fuck? No, I mean, like, this is actually a very well-known TV show. That, like, you guys would know it, but he works as a PA for it. And apparently he got sent home because he was too fucked up. I'm not gonna answer what show it is, you guys. Just know I have a cousin in the TV industry who apparently, just like me, got in a motorcycle accident and then... Okay, I didn't flee the hospital. Once they figured out that that I was not concussed with lasting brain damage, they let me go home. Although I did have a whole thing where I thought the Titanic was fake for a few months after that, but that was completely unrelated. Anyway. That's an unrelated story that we don't have to go into. But anyway. I'm just watching the reactions at this point. Will it at least be a story time at some point? It was! I did it already. I already made a video about this. I talked about it. It's in the most popular video on my channel is when I talked about this. It's in my injury stories video. I talk about it right at the beginning. It's the first story I tell in that video, guys. I did have a thing where I thought the Titanic was fake for a little bit, but once I finally voiced that opinion, my friends were like, no, Star, that was real. What are you talking about? I'm like, oh. I may have gotten hit a little harder in the head than I thought. At first. It's fine. Okay, so listen, here's what happened. Here's what happened with that story. I was not thinking that the actual disaster, the Titanic, was I simplified the story quite significantly. This accident happened around the time that the Titanic got re-released in theaters, I think is what happened. And I managed to convince myself that Concussion Star made that up and that it didn't actually happen. It's like, yeah, I kept thinking, he's like, wow, it's like but I was like, in my head, I thought it's like, oh yeah, they remade the Titanic and they put it out in theaters. That was weird. And then I, at some point, a few weeks later, brought that up in a conversation with my friends who were the ones who, like, you know, came and picked me up from the hospital and whatever. And then they were like, I'm like, yeah, I had this weird, like, you know, concussions are crazy because, like, for a while there, I was convinced that, like, they re-released the Titanic in theaters. And I'm like, that didn't happen. And then all my friends just looked at me and they were like, Starnote, that did happen. Did you forget that happened? And I was like, I guess I did. I guess I did forget that happened. That was real? Okay, well, maybe I got bonked a little harder on my head than I thought I did. But that was the only thing that I remember. I also forgot literally everything else about that accident. Literally everything I know about that story was relayed to me by other people. I don't actually remember the accident happening at all. I remember driving down the street, and then I remember being in the hospital. Yippee! Where's my water? Star-Lore God, I guess. I guess that's technically Star-Lore. I've never talked about that before. But now I just had like this weird thing where it's like, yeah, in 2012 I got in a car accident and then I convinced myself that the Titanic didn't exist. Or like, I was convinced that my brain was lying to me about the I thought it was like a remake, but I guess they just re-released it in theaters for like a couple days or weeks. Like, whatever. Anyway. It was weird. Brains are weird. I was just yelling in mod chat the other day. It was just like, my stupid brain meatloaf. My electric meatloaf has worms in it and they're sick. I have sick worms in it. My worms are sick and that's why I'm doing therapy. Because I have social anxiety and brain problems. Oh, hi, Milo. Oh, hi. Hi, Biscuit Loaf. Hello, what are you doing? Milo is here. Milo is here. Hi. She's baby, she's here. I don't know if any of y'all heard her on the mic just now. I don't know if she's showing up on the mic. The microphone. Milo is here. She's being a baby. Baby petit gatito is here. He's been very talkative recently. I actually just... So there's an account on YouTube Shorts that I've been watching when their videos pop up. It's this like... It's like this Siamese cat that's extremely talkative and just like... Rah, 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 just like every time they talk to him. And it's very funny because, like, in the videos, they, like, subtitle what it sounds like the cat's saying. Yeah, Merv! I love those videos because, like, what's wrong with that cat? But, like, affectionate. It's like, oh, what's wrong with you, buddy? You're so weird. But, like, in a loving and affectionate way. It's very cute. But I watch those videos and I see how talkative that cat is. And I look over at Milo. I'm like, you know what, Milo? I bet you do numbers on YouTube Shorts. And she just goes... Meh. Meh. She's so talkative. She just has so many things to say. She has so many things to say. If she was not scared of my media rectangle, my phone, we could be doing crazy numbers on YouTube Shorts. Make myself famous and then make my cats also famous. That sounds fantastic. Everyone's like, yeah, I'm gonna be a family blogger. And I'm gonna make my kids, I'm gonna record my kids at all hours. Even through their, like, most embarrassing moments where they clearly say that they don't want to be filmed, but I'm gonna force them into it for money. Just film your pet doing weird shit. That's fun. Mervin, Nimbus, and other very vocal kitty are some of my favorite internet cats, little weirdos. Yeah! I like silly talkative animals. It's like, okay, family vloggers? Ew, gross, why are you like this? Pet vloggers? Good. Show me more of your critter. Show me that animal. Show them to me. Subtitle the sounds that they make. They don't care about the internet. They're having a great time. I love that. Just cat videos. It's great. And no lasting psychological damage to your children. Because a dog doesn't know what the internet is. And they don't care that you're gonna post about them on the internet. Just post silly pet videos instead. The backbone of this economy. Yeah, exactly. Just post funny cat videos on the internet. Don't abuse your children. Like, my God, it should not be difficult. I don't know if I could be a pet blogger, though. I don't know if I could handle if my pet was more famous than me. Joking, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. I appreciate people who post funny little videos of their pets online because it makes me smile to see the cat run around and make silly noises. Sorry, gamers, I've kind of locked in. I've kind of locked in a little bit. I am focused on drawing my baby. My baby Lazuli. Yeah, I was actually talking about this on, in the Patreon chat today, because I was posting, like, some progress stuff for the next video. And also posting like the sketches for these earlier this morning. And I do think it's fun that on the surface, Ariana and Lazuli seem very similar personality-wise. But I think what's going to be fun is as we start getting to seeing exactly how different they are. They both seem similar on the surface because, you know, they're both like very grumpy characters who have like trauma in their backstory that kind of guides their actions. But Lazuli is like in the process of defecting from a cult that has actively brainwashed them for most of their life. And their entire worldview is shattering around them. Like, as the story is actively progressing and they have to deal with that and all the emotions that come with it. Meanwhile, Ariana had a bunch of bad shit happen to her and now is on a self-destructive vengeance quest about it. And so the comparison that I drew this morning is that Ariana's pissed and she's making it everyone else's problems. Lazuli is just fucking terrified constantly. And that's fun for me. That's very fun for me. Trauma, yes, exactly. We love to traumatize our characters. Yippee-ki-yay. Fun for me. Fun for the whole family. Like a little silhouette of a leg back here. We love trauma, right? Yeah, it's what I say to my therapist when I give her a big old thumbs up and she just looks at me as like, okay, so we're gonna dig into that now. She's like, explain to me why you said it like that. And I was like, oh, come on. Do I have to? God. I did have just like a very funny... I thought it was funny, and then I was telling the story to all my friends, and they're like, oh no, Star, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, it's funny. Laugh. But I'm not gonna go into detail, but a couple years ago, I had a specific thing that happened that made me very upset at the time. But I remember thinking at the time, and I still sort of do, is that like, yeah, this hurt my feelings and this was a painful thing to live through. But I don't know if I would count this as trauma because it doesn't feel like it was bad enough to have like permanently affected me. And what I've been discovering as I've been kind of, you know, like digging into stuff with my therapist, and she's like pointing out like bits that I hadn't really paid that much attention to, and I'm like starting to think about that shit, and I'm just like, oh wait, this seems like it probably had something to do with that specific thing that happened a few years ago. Ah shit. And so because the specific thing is kind of a long story that takes place over the course of several years. And I was like, listen, when I get into, I'm a very easy crier. And so I swear to God, it's like, I've had several therapy sessions. I made it almost 90% of the way through one of them without crying. But I'm a very emotional person and therapy makes me anxious. And so I do cry through most of my sessions. And that's me being vulnerable. We're not gonna hold it against me, okay? But I was like, this is a long story with a lot of detail and a lot of moving parts and people involved. So I feel like what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write a breakdown of what happened in an email. And I'm gonna send it to my therapist so that I don't have to spend precious session time, like precious paid seconds of my session time detailing this bullshit thing that happened to me a couple years ago. I'll just write it all out in an email, and then we can dig into how it affected me during the actual session. We can do the hard part during the actual session. So I sent her an email, and I'm like, hey, there's this thing that has happened that we haven't really talked about yet, but looking, kind of personally examining it, I think it may have left a bigger impact on me than I thought it did, and I think it's probably something that we need to dig into. And so I sent her, like, this huge, long email with all of the events as they happened, and the next day, it's time for my therapy session, and she's like, so I read your email, and I'm like, yeah, and she said, it explained a lot, and I was like, no, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? And I think it was just like a case of me being like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, there was this thing that happened, but I don't think it has anything to do with my current problems. And then my therapist just like fucking looking at me and being like, you waited until now to tell me about that? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? I've spent the last several years trying to convince myself that this wasn't that bad and that it shouldn't have affected me. What do you mean? It's like, God, what's a comparison? It's like everything in my house is glowing green, and my therapist and I have been working through it, and she's just like, well, why do you think that your house is glowing green? And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have paint around occasionally, but I don't think that could affect the entire house. It definitely wouldn't cause this. And it is like, I mean, I've been eating okay, so I don't think it's food related. And she's like, okay. And then me realizing and emailing her, it's like, I mean, I do have this vat of toxic waste in my basement, but that's irrelevant, right? And she's like, it's not irrelevant. And I'm like, ah, shit. What do you mean the vat of toxic waste in my basement is causing problems for current me? No! No, what do you mean? But yeah, so guess who gets to start EMDR for her vat of toxic waste in a couple days. The thing about EMDR is that it sounds so fake, but literally everyone I've talked to who has had experience with it says that it helps so much. I'm just like, it sounds like hippie bullshit. It sounds like hippie bullshit. What do you mean that waving a light in front of my face while thinking about this bad thing that happened to me will fix it? That sounds like bullshit. That sounds like, oh yeah, I stay hydrated and drink yoga and it's good for my mental health. It's like, that sounds fake too. But literally everyone I have talked to has said that it helped them a lot. And so I'm like, fucking better. There's part of me that's like, well, what if I'm like the 10% of people it doesn't work for? What if? What if there's this miracle cure that works for everyone except me? What do I do then? What on earth was that event? The TLDR that I don't really want to go too much into detail about is that basically I had a very close group of friends and pretty much all of them turned on me and I got forcefully ejected from that friend group, and it fucking sucked, and apparently it had way more of an effect on me than I thought it did at first, and it is contributing to like 90% maybe? I think, yeah, probably like 90% of my very extreme rejection sensitivity can be traced back to that, is what I'm learning. Let's respect Star's privacy. I mean, yeah, that's about as much detail as I'm comfortable going into, but it is a thing that happened, and I'm okay talking about it. I just don't want to go too much into detail, mostly just because, like, I don't know if the people involved still lurk on my streams. I think that most don't, but I don't want to start anything. I don't want to make the vat of toxic waste come back, you know, that's the thing. It's like, I'm trying to get rid of it, I don't want to make it bigger, you know? But yeah, I've talked about it on stream before, like how I have a lot of issues like reaching out to people because it's like, oh God, what if they think I'm weird? What if they think I'm like some kind of clout chasing weirdo? And like all this other stuff. And my therapist was like, so hey, it seems like you're struggling a lot with like this rejection sensitivity. I'm like, people keep using that word around me. And I thought it was bullshit. And now the professional is using that word on me, and I'm like, God damn it. Because it's like, it's one thing if your friends say it to you, you know? It's like, okay, well, I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I think I'm normal. I think I'm normal. And then your therapist says the exact same thing to you, and you're like, God damn it. Now I have to actually put thought into this. Shit. Shit. God damn it. Yeah, I don't know. After we're done dealing with that, I'm gonna have to dive into the whole thing where it's like I exist and basically my entire job and career at this point hinges on people having a positive reception of me publicly, and I'm not planning on this being a thing anytime soon, but there is every possibility that like I fuck up badly enough and I could lose my entire like career and job, and everything I've built could come crumbling down in like 5 seconds if I say the wrong thing on a stream. And that's something that I just live with, and it totally doesn't terrify me on a daily basis at all. What do you have to say about that one, psychotherapist? And she's just gonna give me a fucking look again. I swear to God. It's just one of those things that like kind of haunts me sometimes, because I actually have I know, like, how do I want to say this? I don't talk to them anymore, and point of order, I have not spoken to them. I had not spoken to them for several years before it happened. We were acquaintances, if nothing else. Like, we'd played some co-op games together, but that was about it for as far as like recent stuff. But I know some people who have been like pretty viciously canceled in the past. And I mean, in the specific incident I'm thinking about, and I'm not going to say who it was, I'm going to leave it super vague, is that like kind of, they dug their own grave in that instance. It's like, okay, no one was making you do all that. Why'd you do that? It's like, okay, I don't wish harm on you for that, but what you did was fucked up. Why'd you do that? And honestly, just like watching all of that throw down, like after people realized, oh, you did this thing that's really fucked up. And like, I agree with people, it was really fucked up. Like, why'd you do that? But one of the things I took from it was, if you fuck up badly enough, this could happen to you. And I'm not gonna lie, gang, that kind of terrifies me a little bit. Just a little itty bitty bit. I like to think that I wouldn't fuck up that badly, because what they did was very avoidable. It's like, hey, you didn't have to do all that. You didn't have to do all that. And the people who were calling you out, honestly, like, yeah, what you did was real fucked up and you should not have done that. But, like, damn. It's just, it's a stressful thing. It's new phobia unlocked. like my YouTube started taking off and it was like, yay, wow, this is cool. And then new phobia unlocked, fear of being canceled. And I'm just like, uh-oh, who put that there? Who put that there? And it's like, I'm gonna be honest, it does make me a little bit nervous to stream, but at the same time, it's like, I've never done anything that I have to worry about being canceled for. So I think I'm fine. I'm just like, I just do my best to not be a dick on the internet, and we just keep motoring. We just keep being Skippy. That's how I'm handling it. It is scary though. It is still something that, like, sometimes when I'm in a little bit of an anxiety day, it's the kind of thing that like wriggles its way into my brain. It's like one of those evil worms that whispers is like, hey, this could happen to you. And I'm just like, stop it. Stop it. Anyway, I like drawing blorbos on the internet. I like drawing my petite blorbitos. I'm doing it right now, in fact. Look at them. Look at them, my grumpy babies. My little grumpy babies. This is why I have meds for anxiety. You see, it's like, I'm not like medicated or anything. It's just like, my thing is, one of my things is like, I don't think I don't think my stuff is this bad. And then I tell it to people and they're like, no, Star, that's pretty bad. That's a pretty hard thing that you're dealing with. I'm like, no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It could be way worse. And they're like, no, Star, you. It's like a whole thing where it's like, I have a tendency to downplay my own struggles because other people have it like way worse. So why should I be having a hard time? I don't need to be medicated. I'm normal. It's a difficult topic to have, and there's a voice in my head that's going, just like, shut up. Shut up, stop talking. Before you say something you're gonna regret. And I'm just like, no, it's fine. I don't mind, like, talking about this stuff, because I feel like this stuff does need to be talked about, you know? I hope at the very least that if you're watching this, you don't think that you're struggling alone. Because this is the kind of thing that a lot of people struggle with, and I struggle with it too, and we're out here in this big, scary world struggling together, and it's gonna be okay. That's what I want you guys to take from this. Life is hard. Things are difficult. And we're gonna get through it. One silly little blorbo drawing at a time, right? You're doing great. I'm giving you a thumbs up emoji. Every single one of my streams turns into a TED Talk, because that's just how we do things here. Does Ariana also think she's normal after all the trauma she went through? Oh, probably. She's like, I don't have PTSD. What the fuck are you talking about? Ariana would be one of those people who like doesn't even humor it, because she's just like, I don't have issues. Point me at the person I need to kill. That's her deal. That's her silly little fun times. Look at my babies. They're so cute. They're so cute. I did kind of tone down the red in Laz's hair a little bit. Compared to that first drawing I did of them for the video a few months ago. But overall, it's largely the same. Oops. Well, I talk about my feelings when I could punch people instead. Exactly. Like, I don't need to talk about my feelings. I don't have feelings. I punch. And I punch until the problems go away. Laz is NB. Laz is complicated. I think non-binary is like a good word to use for them, but I also think it's not a perfect word. Because they're complicated. Well, I think we should leave it at that. Complicated in a way that's difficult to explain. I'm still kind of working through, like, what Laz's exact gender identity would be. I do think, for right now, non-binary, but leaning more feminine would work better for them. Just because Laz's thing is like, okay, I kind of want to talk about this, but I don't want to spoil the story. I think that Laz's thing is that they were kind of Okay, this is maybe a weird thing to put. You know how in our society, like, you're kind of squished into, you're either a guy or a girl, you have to pick one. And like, you're kind of forced into the gender binary, and there's a lot of people who are kind of in the middle being like, well, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't really mean that much to me. Why do I need to stick myself perfectly in one box or the other? Imagine kind of a reverse of that situation, where it's like circumstances have led you to like very minimal gender expression at all, but you kind of have a closer idea of what you want to be, but the people who are kind of in charge of your life are like, no, you need to be like androgynous and as not memorable as possible. You can't like do anything to make yourself stand out. But Laz is like, I want to be cute. I want to be cute. That's kind of what I'm rocking with. And they're like, I don't know exactly what the label name would be there. It's complicated and it's weird. It's different. You know? Joe Cat energy? Hey, I don't know Joe Cat well enough. But yeah, that's kind of the situation. And again, it's like, I kind of don't want to go into more detail because I don't want to risk spoiling things. But Laz was basically kind of like put into a box, and the box is as androgynous as possible. And Laz is like, I kind of want to be like cute and girly, but I've been raised my entire life to think that I can't be that, and I don't know what to do about it. So Laz wants to be cute, but is forced to do horrible things, so basically Chris Deltarune. I have not played Deltarune, so I wouldn't be able to tell you one way or the other. My immediate response is, sure? Shrug? I played chapter 1 of Deltarune when it first came out, but that's about as far as I've gotten. I haven't played any of the subsequent parts yet. Deltarune is one of those games where I think I'm gonna play it once the full game is out. I have no idea what fucking colors Laz's outfit is, though. That's my thing. What do you want to do when you have this assassin character who's always dressed in all black, but you want, like, variation in the different shades of black? Ah. Oh shoot, those are too close together. Good. There. What's the dot on Ariana's ear? It's an earring! She has earrings. I just draw them as like little black, like studs, basically. Yeah, I have a lot of fun ideas for Azure Mirage and like Laz and Lapis, both of them, and I'm very excited to get to it. But I told myself I was gonna, you know, take the time to figure out the world building first. And then once I'm kind of satisfied with that, once we get to November and NaNoWriMo starts, that's when I'm gonna start committing and actually like writing it down. But I think tomorrow I want to sit and poke at the outline a little bit. Because I made good progress today, and so I kind of want to poke on some other things tomorrow. Because today and tomorrow are my, like, assorted work days, my assorted art days. I kind of want to poke at the outline a little bit more, but I also kind of want to work on, like, cast-off scripts. It's going to depend on what I'm feeling. I have found that in this line of work, just kind of letting my ADHD chase what it wants to chase is the best way to actually make sure that things get done. And I am thankfully in a career path that lets me take advantage of that. So. How many OCs do you have currently? I don't fucking know. Many. Several. A lot. Mucho. I don't count. I just make them and unleash them onto the world. Make them everybody else's problem. Look at my babies. Look at my grumpies. Look at my grumpies. My petite grumpitos. I love them. Okay, I got 30 minutes. Can I shade these before my time is up? Probably not both of them. But I can probably shade at least one of them and then finish the other one off stream. We're making it happen, Captain. I know you have Unveil, but have you ever considered using Toy House? I've heard of it. I have a website for that already. I don't know why I would need to use a second one. Plus, isn't Toy House like invite only or something? And I don't know, it's like I have Unveil, I'm used to it, I know how it works. They gave me several dollars in the past. Like, I'm pretty chill using them for right now. I don't really have a need for anything else, I suppose. That's kind of where I stand on it, I guess. I started using my Unveil more seriously, like, because they sponsored a video, but then I actually started, like, for real, really using it in earnest. Once I started getting more into, like, okay, I actually want to use these characters for something. And I started making a website, like a card website, that would just like go into detail on all the characters, and I was like, I don't want to do this. And so I just started using Unveil again, because it already had like the whole site layout, and I'm just like, I don't want to build something from scratch. I'm just gonna make that. I'm just gonna use Unveil, because I have an account on there already. I'll just use that. And I think one might say that they are getting their money's worth out of that sponsorship they did to me. They gave me money, and then I actually kept using the service, and they were like, whoa. Whoa, damn. Laz is who? Go watch my Azure Mirage video! It will tell you everything you need to know. It's like 3 videos from my most recent one. Tiefling Rainbow update. No updates. Except, I guess, technically, Vesper kind of fits the yellow slot now. She's my baby. However, and I should say this, don't freak out when I say this. I don't know if the Tiefling Rainbow will ever be completed. Because I'm kind of reworking my fantasy races for my fantasy novel, and so they will not be called tieflings, and I'm basically reworking the entire concept of like the fantasy race. And so I'm basically making them tieflings, but they're different. The name is subject to change. I'm calling them Cinderins now. And it's related to my world building system. Where basically, like, Verity is that, and Emery is that. I don't know if Emery's ever gonna make it into any of the novels, because I'm not sure if her story could be told in this magic universe. It's a little bit... It would be kind of pushing the limits of what it can do. But yeah, Vesper here is a Cinderin. And so it's basically like... I wanted to remove any association with, like, devils and demons of Christianity, because like that's not really a thing in this universe, but like in D&D they're very associated with, you know, like devils and demons and like Christian mythology and all that, and I wanted to get rid of all that, and so I'm changing it. And so basically, isn't Cinder in the Lord of the Rings elf language? It's spelled differently. It's spelled with like Cynderan, because it's supposed to be like cinder, like ashen cinders, but with a Y instead of an I. Because they are the children of the god Sind, Cynd. I'm gonna talk about it in my upcoming video. But basically, so like Cyndaquil, I guess, if you have to do that to me, if you have to do me dirty like that with the comparisons. But why is your spear not the right color? I changed it to like that kind of silvery. The colors are a little messed up. I'll fix it later. I don't know if I saved the document before I exported it, but anyway. But yeah, so I'm going to talk about this in this video, but basically, all of the different fantasy races in this new universe that I'm working on is like kind of sort of a descendant of a different god. And so all of the tieflings are children of like Lord Sind is like the god, that is his name. And so the children are called Cinderants or Cinderans. I'm subject to change. I'm not like 100% on that name. And they're, instead of being like based on devils and stuff from Christian mythology, they're actually elemental based. So Vesper has like wind powers and stuff, and a lot of tieflings, Cinderans, have like resistance to different elements and stuff. A lot of them have like fire resistance, kind of like tieflings, but it's entirely not based in like, you know, the devil mythology. They just have horns because it looks cool and I wanted to give them horns. Basically, I'm just like, what if this was more suited to what I want to do with it? Because the concept is like... Oh, what is happening? Okay. If Emery was in the Aja Mirage world, would she have fire powers? Potentially. So the way that it works is that, and again, this is still a work in progress, so pardon me if it's a little bit messy, is that the very first, like, children of these fallen gods, like, all of the children of the god Sind would have had elemental powers. But that was, like, thousands and thousands of years ago. And, you know, like, that things have changed. And, you know, like, like, there's been, like, kind of... I hate to say it like this. There's gotta be a better way to say it. Like... crossbreeding? There has got to be a better word for it. But it's just like, you know, like the streams have crossed, like different people, like, as things got mixed. And hi Milo, hi baby. So they're like benders from Avatar. Kind of. Hey baby cat, what are you doing? Mixed races, I guess. That's another thing that I've been wondering about. So maybe you guys can help me with this. Are we sure that saying races is the best word for it in the context of fantasy? Or is there a better word that I should be using? Because I always feel a little bit awkward saying fantasy races, and I'm like, I feel like there should be a different word for that. I like species. Species feels like different, though. Why not ancestry? Ancestry feels like a little bit of a mouthful, but I know that that's what D&D switched to. There's been a lot of discussion about that and inconclusive. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got. And so it's like, okay, well, inconclusive is not helpful. Species is a bit too scientific, maybe for sci-fi. Yeah, I think that's like part of why I wasn't huge into it. Species just sounds so like clinical, it feels like. I feel like, you know, if you were a person in this universe, You wouldn't say, oh, don't date him, he's from a different species. And I'm like, that sounds, I don't know if I like how that sounds. I don't know if I like how that sounds. Culture sounds nice. Yeah, but see, the thing is, like, it's not necessarily going to be tied to, like, I think the culture is going to be different because, like, there will be a lot of different, we'll say ancestries for now. There will be a lot of people from a lot of different ancestries that all come from like the same culture. And so I don't think culture would be the best for this specifically. Especially when TTRPGs do stats based on race, it gets deterministic. Yeah. And so I kind of want it to be where it's like, yeah, okay, in the very beginning, when you had the fractured bodies of the gods, like, their powers were very inherently based on whatever god they came directly from, because it was literally A to B. However, then those children of the god had children with other, like, god's children, and they kind of intermixed and intermingled, and it's been thousands of years. And so now it's like, yeah, I'm like 1/4 Cinderant on my dad's side, but I've also got a little bit of like Dwarvish and Elvish in there, and it's just like a little bit of a quirk. Everyone's kind of like a little bit of a quirky mix of everything, because it's fantasy, and I say that I want to do that because my kind of design ethos with this story is that I want to be able to get away with designing literally whatever the fuck kind of character I want and have it be justified within the universe. I want to have elves and dwarves and cat people and fairies and just like all this other stuff, and not necessarily have to write a full diatribe about how they exist in the universe. But I just want to be able to do whatever the hell I want, basically. You can make up your own word for it, call them blends or something. That makes them sound like a beverage. That sounds a little bit too beverage. You don't have to explain. Yeah, and I mean, fair point. A lot of this probably isn't going to get explained within the text itself, but it's something that I think is important for me as the writer to know, so that I can talk about it if and when it comes up in the story and it's important. Side note, complete side note. I will never forgive D&D for having, okay, because one of the things that has always bothered me with fantasy stuff, and like D&D is very guilty of this, where whenever you have someone like a half-elf, or a half-dwarf, or a half-orc, why is the other half always human? Why is the other half always human? Let me have half this, half that, and half the other thing. Let me have dwarves with cat ears. Let me just have that and like don't need to explain it at all. Let me just like have that as a thing in the universe. I should be able to have a half dragon, half dwarf, whatever the hell. And okay, here's the thing. I will never forgive D&D for making it, because in D&D, they're not like a playable ancestry, but in D&D, they actually have a race, heavy air quotes, that is half elf and half dwarf. And they call it a dwelf. And it basically is self-described as taking the worst parts of elves and dwarves. And like, you read the thing about them in like the player's handbook or whatever, and it's just talking about how much they suck. And I'm like, excuse me? You're cowards. Wizards of the Coast is a bunch of fucking cowards. Give me a half-elf, half-dwarf who's just like kind of a short king, but somewhere in the middle there, he's like just average height, hot bearded man with pointy ears. Well, we could have had that, and you're just not letting me have that, and it's quite frankly rude. I just want an excuse to give everybody pointy ears, because I like them. I like them. I like them. And I want to be able to do whatever the fuck I want. So do it. I'm going to! That's the whole point! Is it like, I want to be able to come up with whatever the fuck I want, and the universe will justify it for me. Because, like, I haven't figured out every character's, like, full lineage, but, like, Vesper's pretty short. And given her history, she probably has some Dwarvish in her. Like, a little bit. Like an eighth, or a quarter, maybe. But it's just like mostly like a height thing, and she's just a baby. But like she's got horns, and she mostly looks like a Cinderant. But I keep putting a T on the end of that, and it doesn't have one. This is why I keep saying that like everything is flexible. Please stop cursing. No, this is my channel, and I can speak exactly how I want to. If you have a problem with it, I'm sorry, but that's not my business. That's not my business. You come to my stream, and like little bit of tough love here, but this is my stream, and I will speak how I wish to. If that bothers you, you do not have to watch. Anyway. I'm sorry, that's just like one of my big pet peeves. Is people coming onto my stream and telling me how to talk and do things? Like, no. No, I'm not going to censor myself because this stream is not for all ages. I am an adult and I will speak how I wish. So. You're giving school teacher vibes though? That is just my personality. I do not claim to be that. I do not claim that. I do not advertise myself as being, like, family friendly. I curse when I want to, and I speak how I wish to, and if that is something that you have issue with, then you can leave. Door's up there. Yeah, it's not labeled as kid-friendly. I never claim to be kid-friendly in any of my stuff. If it bothers you too much, you can leave, or you can deal with it and you can say. That is my take on that. Anyway. Awkward silence! Sorry, just locked in for a hot sec. Oh. Kitty food dispenser's going off. What was I talking about before that? Oh, yeah. But yeah, so I've just kind of been, like, you know, poking and prodding at, like, my fantasy universe. And, like, so fun fact is, actually, you know, like, having a lot of mixes of, like, different ancestries is very fun, because then you can play around and get a little quirky with it and have it. So, say, for example, a third Blorbo that's going to be in Vesper's story, is mostly human and elvish, or yeah, human and elvish, mostly human, little bit of elvish, goes their entire life thinking that's what they are, until about the point when they hit puberty and they suddenly sprout horns. And they're just like, what the fuck? And then they find out through searching around that they have they had a great grandma who was a Cinderan. And it just skipped several generations and then slammed the fuck into Cameron, and that's why they have horns. But because Cinderans usually get their horns, like, they start showing traces of horns when they're, like, less than a year old. Everyone was like, you didn't start developing horns until you were you were a teenager? Are you cursed? And then they got real nervous and skittish and everyone made fun of them and they dropped out of school. And now they're emo and flustered and nervous about it. And that's what their deal is. My baby. Genealogy must be a highly sought after profession in this world. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I have a picture of Cameron in there, around here somewhere in my downloads folder probably. I can bring up a picture of them. They're also gonna be in my September video. Yeah, this baby. This baby. It's like, they thought they were just like, you know, mostly human with a little bit of elvish in there, and then suddenly, boom, horns. Fantasy puberty hitting hard. Yeah, exactly. Here's the other baby. She and Vesper are friends. Look at them, the babies. That's the babies. They are friends. But yeah, and so another fun fact is that in this universe, there are a specific type of shapeshifter called mirages. And wow, Azure Mirage, species called mirages? How'd that happen? How'd that get in there? I don't know. I don't know how that happened, but anyway. In universe, mirages are like extremely rare. And right now, the running theory is that mirage is born when you just have like the perfect cocktail of like a bunch of different like ancestries all kind of mixed into the same person. And sometimes it can get a little quirky and there can be a little bit of a glitch and then boom, you have shapeshifting powers. But that's just the scientific theory. And Zephyr, who is a mirage, is like, nah, I think that's bullshit because my twin sister was also a mirage. And I feel like that's winning the genetic lottery twice in a row. And so, do we ever find out specifically where mirages come from? Maybe, maybe not. But I know. I know where they come from. I know how it happens. But the characters don't because they're so rare that people haven't really had the opportunity to study them. And it gets a little quirky. And it gets a little fun. That part's still like a little bit of a work in progress though. I'm still trying to figure out like exactly how I want to do it. I have a pretty general idea though. I have a pretty general idea. So is Lapis in the story? Yes! Lapis is the main character of Azure Mirage. So yes, she's in it. Again, if you are unfamiliar with what this Azure Mirage thing is I keep talking about, it's literally a recent video. I made a video with both Lapis and Zephyr on the thumbnail, and it says crafting a story together that will tell you everything you need to know. So go watch that. It's like, it's why I made that video, so I could refer back to it and be like, hey, go watch that if you want to know. Want to know all my sordid details. Yes, thank you, Holly. Holly posted the link if anyone wants to go watch that video. Or like bookmark it for later, or what have you. Are mirages like Fae? No, because at this point in time, and one of the reasons why I had to change a lot of stuff about like a lot of the characters' backstory is that there are no Fae in this universe. They're like not a thing really. And so like that's one of the things that I had to change quite a lot. I basically had to like completely throw out the villain and start from scratch because the villain in the original D&D story was like an archfey, but I'm like, well, there's not gonna be any Fae in this universe, so I have to come up with something else for you. And I did come up with something else. And she's scary. She's scary. Star, will the novels be like a trilogy of sorts? That's not the plan. My plan is more, it's an anthology where the stories aren't really connected aside from like occasional cameos. But unfortunately, the thing is that Vesper was originally planned to be a minor side character in the Verity novel because she's one of Rodin's grandkids. She was originally planned to be a side character in the Verity novel, but unfortunately, she has a storyline and a like just kind of a personality and motivations, which are extremely compelling. And she's just screams like, I want to be the main character so bad. And so she's probably going to get her own, at least a novella at some point. The main thing that's holding me back is that I haven't figured out exactly what kind of story I want to tell with her yet. It's like, I have her motivations. I know what she wants to do. I just have to figure out the situation I'm going to stick her in. That's the main thing that I'm still trying to figure out. And I do think when I write Vesper's story, I want it to be a little bit lighter in tone. More of like a YA thing than whatever the hell Azure Mirage has going on, which is more like a young adult or just like new adult type story, because it is going to be a little bit darker. A lot of people die, but like one of the main characters is an assassin. You could figure that out. But with Vesper, I think I want hers to be closer in tone to, say, like a Percy Jackson or something. Because in her story, if Vesper gets a novel where she gets to be the main character, it would be a prequel to the Verity novel. And in the Verity novel, she'd be, like, in her late teens, probably. So if she gets her own story, then she'd probably be in, like, her early teens. She'd be, like 14, 15-ish. But again, this is all subject to change, and I'm mostly just kind of talking out of my ass because I don't have a solid plot idea for what Vesper's storyline would be. I just know that she wants to go on some kind of adventure. What is she gonna do? I don't know. Something. Something. When you say Rodin's grandchild, they're adopted grandkids, right? Yes. So Rodin adopted a Cinderin girl named Vesper, the original Vesper, because this Vesper, like Pink Vesper, this Vesper, her name, she's actually Vesper the Second. Vesper the First was the granddaughter that Rodin adopted, and then she had kids, and then they had their own kids. Vesper is like, I'm gonna call the original character. I'm going to call her Vespertine. That's like her full name. So Vespertine was Rodin's adopted grandchild. And then she had kids, and several generations later, you have Vesper. And so that's kind of where she came from. And she grew up hearing stories about Verity and like learning all these folk stories and like being fascinated by her family history and doing all of that stuff. And she's like, wow, I want to be just like Lady Verity. That's so cool. She's so amazing. And then Verity comes back to life, and it's weird for everybody. It's weird for everybody. And so that's kind of what I wanted her to stick her into the Verity novel. But then the more I started thinking about her, the more she started like busting through the walls of my brain like the Kool-Aid Man and being like, hey, you know, I'd make like a really cool like main character of my own story. And I was like, shut up, Vesper, get out of here. And she's like, no. Awkward. Yeah, exactly. Especially because like the scene that was kind of the origin of her as a character is her thinking that Verity is an imposter sent by the main villain, and her freaking the fuck out. Being like, oh no. And then so later, she actually gets to meet Verity on like proper terms once she realizes, oh, you're not an imposter and you're actually like my great grandmother. Like I was adopted, but you know, like still, and I'm sorry about that whole thing where I thought you were an imposter. I still think you're really cool. Can I ask you 10,000 questions? Will you think that I'm weird? And she's just a baby. She's just a baby. And her literal idol just came back from the dead. In a universe where coming back from the dead is not something that is possible. See, that's another big difference from like one of the reasons why I didn't want this to take place in like your traditional fantasy world. One of the big limits of magic is like healing magic exists. All this stuff exists. Resurrection is completely off the table. It's theoretically, potentially, in thousands of years, like maybe our magic scientists will have figured out how to bring people back from the dead. But right now, it's about as likely as someone being brought back from the dead today. Like, right now. And so, you know, like, her idol, this person who died, like, 200 years ago, that she's looked up to this entire time. This would be like an actor suddenly meeting Shakespeare. Like, the actual person. And being like, oh my god. And just like, imagine that reaction. That's Verity to Vesper, essentially. Or no, the other way around. Vesper to Verity. She's like the traditional stage actor who just found out that Shakespeare just got resurrected. And she had he had a fling with her dad. And she's like, oh my god. And so once she realizes, like, oh, you know, you're not an imposter. You're the real person. Oh my god. I'm your biggest fan. Can I ask you a bajillion questions? And then Verity's just like, wow, this is a lot. This is a lot. It's a whole thing, but it's very cute. It's very cute. Is Verity's just like, I will protect you like my own child now. I will protect you like my very own child now. You are a sweet, innocent baby. And I think I'm adopting you. She's just a baby. She's just a baby. Look at her. Look at her. She's a baby. And I love her. She's my angel baby petite blorbito. And I love her very much. And I would just want to pinch her cheek. She's a baby. However, with that said, it is 8. It is time for me to call the stream. And I am getting the tired voice of streaming for too long. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. But I do appreciate folks who came to hang out. But that is going to be where we end the Blorbo talk for now. Again, I will probably be streaming either on Wednesday or Friday. Potentially both, because I do have a lot of stuff I need to get done. Check my stream tab for the waiting rooms once those go up. I don't know exactly. It's just gonna depend on how I'm feeling over the next couple days and what I think I can reasonably commit to. But that will be happening at some point in the future. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and call it. So thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I will see you later. I'm gonna go take a walk now before it gets dark. But I will see you guys next time. Thank you all for joining me. Bye!